The secret. Everyone believes. There's a belief that the ultra-rich have some kind of secret. Insider information the rest of us will never get. A hidden edge. I spent time with a man who would actually know. Someone who spent 30 years moving billions of dollars of the world's richest families and biggest institutions into a single market. And what he told me was more interesting than any conspiracy. Because the ultra-rich don't have secret information. They have something harder to copy. Think about who they talk to. They meet the policymakers, they meet the successful founders, and every young entrepreneur with a great idea comes to them for capital. So, their sources of information, their ability to read where the world is going, are just far better than an average person's. They see the world through a different lens, not secret facts, a clearer filter on the same facts everyone has. Here's how he put it. You and I might read the exact same news, but we walk away with completely different instincts about what it means. That gap, that's the whole game. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly how these people think, how they decide where money goes, why they made billion-dollar bets years before anyone else saw them coming, and the one belief about money that separates the truly wealthy from everyone still chasing it. Stay till the end, because the final insight is the one nobody wants to hear, and it changes how you'll look at every decision you make. Let's get into it. Money is like water. Here's the first idea that reframes everything. To a global investor, money is like water. You can pour it into this glass or that jug, it doesn't care. And water flows to wherever it finds the most attractive place to sit. So when huge investors pull money out of a country, people panic and say, they've lost trust. But he was blunt about this. It's not a loss of trust. It's a loss of returns. Money moves on something called relative value. If your market looks overvalued and another market looks like it has more future growth, the money simply flows there. No emotion, no betrayal, just water finding its level. And this is where it gets counterintuitive for regular investors. We think, I made 20% on that stock. Great. But the ultra-wealthy think 3 layers deeper. He walked me through the real math. Say you make 20% on paper. First, tax takes a cut. Then, and this is the part people forget, if the currency weakens, that eats your return again in dollar terms. So a 20% gain can quietly become 13% by the time it actually lands. That's the difference. The average investor counts the headline number. The wealthy count the number that actually reaches their pocket. After tax, after currency, after everything. And once you start seeing money as water that flows toward the best real return, not the best story, you stop making emotional decisions. You stop marrying a single investment. You start asking the only question that matters. Where will my money be treated best? That mindset shift alone puts you ahead of most people who ever touch a market. Why they obsess over getting money back? Now, here's something that surprised me. When a huge global investor looks at putting money into any new country, their very first thought isn't, how much can I make? It's a much quieter question. Can I get my money back out? He explained it perfectly. Any new market, the first things you ask are, how are the rules? How are the taxes? Are those rules standardized? And most importantly, if the government changes tomorrow, do the rules change with it? Because here's the trap he sees over and over. In many markets, entry is easy. Anyone will take your money. He joked about it. There are 1.4 billion people. That's 2.8 billion hands, plenty of takers. But the exit is where the real risk lives. He told me 2 brutal stories. In one, they invested in a company that was cooking its books. They found out, they took it to court, fought for 2 years, and then the case just vanished. The government cleared the company. Their money went from $1 to 10 cents. Robbed with no recourse. In the second, they put money into a gaming company. Overnight, the government banned the sector. $1 billion gone. No warning. Policy changed and everything was wiped. His lesson wasn't avoid that market. It was sharper than that. You have to pick the right industry. Because he pointed out, a food delivery startup launched at the exact same time as that gaming company. Same era, same young founders. One got banned, the other became a giant. The difference? One built a business that fit how the country actually works. The other bet against it. The ultra-rich don't just chase returns. They obsess over reversibility. Can I get out? That question protects fortunes. The complexity most outsiders miss. He said something I keep thinking about. To understand a complex place, you must have feet on the ground. And he demonstrates this in the most theatrical way. In meetings with global investors, he pulls a few different currency notes out of his pocket and lays them on the table. Then he asks, "Do you know why these notes are different colors?" Because in his country, many people can't read, but they know the red note is worth 20, the blue one is worth 100. Then he flips the note over and shows them. It's printed in over a dozen official languages. And that's before you count the spoken dialects. His point, this is the complexity of the place. Outsiders assume everyone they meet speaks English, thinks the same way, buys the same things. It's not like that. He gave my favorite example. Ask any shirt manufacturer which colors sell in the South versus the North. Completely different. Go south and the biggest soft drink isn't cola. It's the orange one. Same country. Totally different worlds. So his argument to global investors is, you cannot manage this market from an office in another city, flying in every few weeks to shake 4 hands. That money will sink. And here's the proof. The biggest, smartest private equity funds in the world all built full teams on the ground. They didn't do it remotely. They did it because the only way to understand a complex market is to live inside it. The takeaway for you. The money that wins isn't just the smartest money. It's the money that did the unglamorous work of understanding the terrain everyone else skipped. Where the money actually comes from. Now let me show you something most people never see. The source of the world's investment capital. He called it finding the headwaters of the river. When he wanted to build his fund, he asked the obvious question. Where do the giant global firms actually get their money? And the answer is 4 massive pools. First, sovereign wealth funds. Some countries run a national profit and loss, revenue minus expenses, and the profit-making countries take that surplus and organize it into a fund, hand it to managers and say, invest this across the globe and generate returns for the next few generations of our people. Second, pension funds. In developed countries, a worker starts saving at 22 and keeps paying in for 40 years, and that money compounds into something enormous. Here's a fact that stunned me. A small country like Norway runs one of the world's largest pension funds, over $1 trillion. Third, insurance money. You pay a premium every year. Multiply that by millions of people, and insurance companies are sitting on gigantic pools of capital that they are under constant pressure to invest. And fourth, endowments. Very wealthy people set these up. The money's destined for charity eventually, but in the meantime, it's invested, and the returns fund the good work. So he realized these 4 pools, sovereign funds, pensions, insurance, endowments, are the source. The Blackstones and KKRs of the world aren't the origin of the money. They're the pipes. The water comes from here. Once you understand where capital is born, the entire game of high finance suddenly makes sense.